Have you ever had a moment where you knew exactly what you wanted or what you needed to do? You were like, oh, yeah. I need to do that. That's the thing, or I want that. And then, like, within like 30 seconds, you have an entire committee show up in your mind upstairs. And they're in a meeting. You know who shows up: the resistant one, the judgy one, the doubtful one, the critic, the one that says, well, what if we fail? And the one that says, what you can't do that. Who do you think you are? Or the one that's like, oh, what's the point? It doesn't matter. No one's going to care. Like, you've got this whole entire committee upstairs having a conversation. And before you know it, they've talked you out of it. It's so draining when that happens because you knew what you wanted and what you needed to do. And bam, then what? And then it never happens. It never shows up. It never materializes. You never do the thing. You never get what you really wanted. Why? Because you let yourself be talked out of it by your own self.
You're listening to Say It Anyway, the podcast for people who know they're meant for more and are done holding back. I'm Maggie Marcus, and here we talk courage, self-trust, and what it takes to lead yourself, even when it scares the hell out of you.
I friggin' a couple days ago, or last week, I saw this guy was doing a challenge. Like, it was like a bet that it's called the 90-day show up. 90-day show up. And it was a challenge that he posed. It's a bet. You put down $2,000 and you've got to post every freaking day for 90 days. I mean, you can miss up to 5 days, but you got to do at least 85 videos, and then you get your money back. Every single dollar, no questions asked. And as soon as I saw that challenge, I was like, oh shit, that's exactly what I need. Like, that's perfect for me because I am so inconsistent on social media. I overthink. I will do really good for a little while, and then I just fall off. And I want to be consistent. I want to show up, and I'll have all these ideas. I'll write things in my notes, and they're always for later. I'll overthink, or I'll want to have it. I want to make sure it's really valuable and really insightful. And before I know it, the spark's passed, the idea's faded, the momentum's gone, I'm not inspired, and there's always a reason that I find not to post. So I thought, oh, this is good. Yeah, because a lot of the times I'm not posting. Yeah, I make all these excuses, but what's really beneath it is that this fear that what I have to say isn't going to matter that much, or is not good enough yet. Or I get frozen or stuck for ideas or like I have kind of a semblance of an idea, but I haven't fleshed it out enough. And so, it all to say, I thought this was perfect for me instantly. I thought, this guy, he talks all about what I talk about, which is stop editing, stop performing, really go through the cringiness of posting and letting yourself be seen online, because as you do that, you will learn to trust yourself and show up more authentically online. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is perfect. It's exactly what I need. And then the fear shows up, right? On the whole committee shows up, right? Like, what if I don't do it? What if I don't follow through? What if I lose the money? Like, I'm unemployed right now. So that's a pretty big, that's a pretty good chunk of change, to just lose because I didn't, follow through on my commitment. What if I can't keep up? What if, what if the prompts aren't, because he sends you prompts daily or like ideas to help you kind of guide you each day. What if I don't like those? All this stuff is coming up for me. And then I'm like, but wait, I'm going camping. How am I going to post while I'm camping? And then I'm like, oh, well, I think it was like a Thursday or a Friday or something. I was like, oh, I'll start on Monday. Right. I'll start on Monday. Okay. So I give myself a few days because I'm like, let me think about this. That's what fear wants me to do. It wants me to think about it, think it through. Let me think about this. Let me sit on this for a little while. I'm sure the challenge will still be there in a few days. So I'm sitting on it, and Monday comes around, and I had gone to a wedding over the weekend. I came back home by train on Monday, went straight to my stepdaughter's graduation. Then we hosted everyone at our house for a party. So Monday goes, I don't sign up. I'm too busy, right? And then Tuesday rolls around, and I can't even tell you what I did on Tuesday. Oh, I was like catching up on stuff. I'd been gone the whole weekend. Anyway, doesn't matter because I talked myself out of it. Tuesday, I don't sign up. And then I go Wednesday. Wednesday is my birthday. I'm like, I'm going to sign up on my birthday. That's a cool story. Like I'll do that on my birthday. It's a gift to myself. I'm going to do this. Wednesday, I get gifted a spa day, which, side note, freaking amazing. Best, such a great day. But anyway, I go, it's my birthday. So I spend the whole day at the spa, enjoying myself, relaxing, and then I go out to dinner with my family. So guess what? Don't sign up. Now it's Thursday today. And I wake up thinking about this challenge, and I know it's there. I need to do this. I want to do it. But I'm so freaking scared. I spent the whole morning thinking about it, finding reasons for me not to do it. I talk to freaking chat about it. I'm writing in my notes. And up until the very last second, I'm on the sign up page. Oh, you know what I did? I spent an hour. I go #showup90. I find all the people who are in the challenge. I'm watching their videos, and I'm like trying to look at, like, I'm trying to prepare, because here's the thing. I'm scared because I can't control. Once I commit, I can't control what I'm committed to in a way. Like I know I can control, like it's my choice whether I show up, whether I do the work, but I don't know what's coming. I don't know the prompts. I don't have control over that. So I'm trying to get a semblance of control by like searching everyone's posts and looking at what are they talking about? Is this something I really, that is going to be good? Like, am I going to do this? So I'm going back and forth. And the funny thing is, the whole couple of days since then, I have known deep down the right decision. I know. My intuition knew this was good for me. And it was what I needed to create momentum, to create consistency, to show me that I can commit and show up even when I don't feel like it. Like I already knew. Here I was, though, negotiating with myself every day. And it's exactly the pattern that I've had. I'm always negotiating with myself, because if I did this, I couldn't negotiate with myself anymore. I'd go in, I was going to do this thing, I was going to show up every day, or I was going to lose that money. So it was time to put my money where my mouth is. Put my money where my mouth is. And that showing up for 90 days is no joke. That is, you show up when you don't feel like it. There are going to be days where I am not in the mood. I am busy. Life is happening. I am camping, whatever. And so this took out the negotiation piece, and it took out the comfortability and the safety, because right now I can say I'll just post when I feel like it or when I'm inspired or when I want to. There's nothing forcing me to. And that is exactly why I needed this. And I needed that. And I wanted it, right? And so I knew this intuitively. The funny thing is, though, in that moment, it's like I kind of knew that. But what do we do when, like, how do we discern intuition and fear, right? Because like sometimes we're up against a decision and our fear can be very persuasive. Like that committee upstairs can be very persuasive. And learning to listen to your intuition and understand it and trust it and know what it feels like. I feel like this is a practice. Like to me, intuition it feels like instinctual, like there's just this knowing, and I think it's like it's almost instant and it's deep, and I can feel it, like I just know, and it feels like a pull, and I think sometimes it can be very quick, right? It's very quick. It can be just like a flash. We feel it and we sense it, or we feel like the knowing, and then it's gone in a second once our inner critic or our fear tries to take over and talk us out of it. And so our intuition, I think, feels very expansive. It feels very alive. It feels like this pull forward and charged, even if it's scary. Like when I saw that challenge, no doubt did I have like a bit of like, whoo, shit. That makes my ass pucker. But there was also this feeling of excitement because I was like, whew, yeah, that's perfect for me. That's really like, even though it scares the shit out of me, that is exactly what I need right now. So I knew it and I felt that, right? But when we're in that fear, the fear feels very contracting. It feels constrictive. It feels tight, right? Like, it kind of feels like, to me, it almost feels like this panic and this like tightness in my chest. And there's this heaviness. It's draining because like the committee's up there going back and forth, ping pong, and they're just like having a ball, overthinking, considering all the scenarios, all the ways that could go wrong and why we shouldn't do it. And that's exhausting. So with fear, we start looking and searching for a sense of relief, right? But with intuition, it's expansive. It's an expansive energy. And both of those are gonna feel uncomfortable, but in different directions, right? Like one is pulling you towards something and the other one is pulling you away. And so we can notice when this kind of ping pong match between our intuition and our fear, because it's probably comes up more often than you have clocked it, right? But you can notice, like it shows up all the time, right? Like let's say you're at work, you're in a meeting, you want to pitch an idea, and intuitively like, ooh, I should say something. I should share this. And then what happens? Right away, committee shows up. No, you shouldn't. You're going to look stupid. Nancy's here. You know Nancy. She's a hard ass. Like, she's going to give you shit when you share that. Right? Or when you want to, if someone asks, like, hey, who's going to run? We're going to start this new group meeting, this new cohort, this new weekly thing. Like, who's going to run it? And like, intuitively, like, ooh, I should do that. That's going to be good for me. I want to show up. I want to show them that I'm serious, or I want to cultivate leadership skills. And then what happens? You put the brake on, right? Fear comes out. Or, let's say you want to, my fiance just did this. He's so good at this, right? He was like, I'm going to write a screenplay. The man has never written anything like this in his life. Within a week, he wrote 2 screenplays, like 2 episode like pilots, and he submitted them to, he works at NBC. He submitted them to this program that he saw for like a contest. And so it's things like that, right? You want to submit a piece of work or an art. You want to showcase something online or at a local event. And intuitively, you're like, yes, it's a yes. I should do that. And then you reel back and you let the fear take over and you negotiate with yourself and you convince yourself not to do it, or going after getting your master's or starting the coffee cart, launching the podcast, writing the book, right? Taking a chance. Telling someone how you really feel. There's all these opportunities that I believe that instinctively you want to do it, you need to do it, it'd be good for you, yet you hold back. Yet you let fear talk you out of it. And like I said, I know the fear is convincing because sometimes it sounds really rational and sometimes it is, right? Like some of the concerns can be very legitimate. I'm not saying, push all of that aside. You can still give fear a seat at the table because it is there for a reason. There's a signal. Fear is there to show us something, and it's okay to acknowledge it and listen because sometimes it does have valid concerns. And what we can do though is just take it as information, useful data, right? Like, yes, doing that thing could cost us more money. Yeah, it could fail. Yeah, people might judge me. The problem isn't that fear speaks up. That's not the problem, right? The problem is when fear gets the final vote. When fear gets the final vote, right? Like fear's job is risk assessment, not life direction. So it can get a seat at the table along with intuition, inner wisdom, practicality, finances, all of that. But just because everyone's at the table doesn't mean that one is going to drive. Like, I'm mixing up analogies here, but you get what I mean, right? Like, if we're in the boardroom, you don't ignore the CFO, but you also don't let him make every single decision, right? Like, you got to be able to discern with all the information, is that fear, what's being presented to me, that information, is that more important to me than finding out if I can make it, if I can do it? Would that be, what would be more worth it? You've got to be able to take all the information and then choose which decision is going to get me closer to the person that I want to be, right? Which decision is going to allow me to build more conviction and self-trust? Because even if I do go for it and I don't get the outcome that I want, am I still going to be able to navigate the terrain and build confidence and trust in myself by being able to do that? Because that's the goal. That's the goal is to trust ourselves. Like, even though I might not get the outcome that I initially wanted, can I trust that I will figure it out, that I will navigate the situation and the circumstances and be able to lean on myself, to find my way through, to be someone that I can rely on and bet on? Because even when we do follow our intuition, right, we might not always get the outcome we're hoping for. And maybe not every decision will technically be right, but it will be right for you. Like, you will most likely, even if it fails, learn something about yourself. Take a step closer to the person who embodies your values. You will build resilience. You will learn something that you didn't know before, right? Even the lefts that we take, they're still right because they'll still move us in a direction that gets us closer to how we want to be and the person that we want to be. I would so much rather be the person that takes the risk and finds out than to have never taken the risk at all, because either way, I'm gaining something, right? I'm either going to get the outcome that I'd hoped for and that I want, or I won't. And I'll learn something about myself. And I'll also learn again that I can trust myself, that I can navigate, that I'm resilient, and I can handle whatever comes my way, whatever it is. A lot of times we worry, like, what if I make the wrong decision? And then I prove to myself, oh, okay, like, I can't trust myself. I shouldn't have done that. I'm so stupid for even thinking that I could have done it, right? Or like, I can't make decisions. I can't run the business. And I'm going to tell you something here, and I'm just going to be straight with you. If that's how you're thinking, then that's on you and how you're interpreting the situation. Sprinkling that one with a little bit of tough love, because you can have the same situation and look at it in many different angles, right? If you are choosing, heavy emphasis on the word choosing, you are choosing to interpret a situation. You are choosing the story that, that's what that means about me, right? Because I failed, I suck. I'm not enough. I wasn't meant to do that. I can't do that. Then that's you choosing a story that limits you. instead of one that serves you. Because another person could look at that same situation and say, well, dang, it didn't get me exactly where I wanted to go, but how did that actually serve me? That, okay, that was an example of me being someone who goes after it, who embodies courage. And I learned whatever X, Y, and Z lesson from that. I learned that that's not the way you should go about running the business, right? And now I am so much more wiser, and I can take that and I can try again. Because it's like a kid learning to walk, right? Like they learn, they're trying to walk, they fall down. What if, imagine, they were like, well, they fall down and they're like, well, I guess I'm not good at walking because I was never meant to walk. That would be ridiculous, right? Like instead, it's like, maybe I need to plant my foot down a little bit more firmly on that next step. And I know babies aren't actually thinking that, but that just goes to show that it's in our nature to get up and to keep going when we fall down, to try, to fail, to make mistakes and keep going, keep trying. And that's going to be way more empowering of a story and a more empowering perspective for us. Like, you might try and fail, but are you going to let that fear really stop you from ever even finding out in the first place? Like, is that the kind of person that you'd rather be? Like, no judgments, but it's not the person I want to be. And I know, listen, I know there's a lot of people who have some really high stakes, right? I know there are people who are providing for others, for a family, who have people who rely on them. And I get that. So I'm not saying like just because you want to go after your goals and chase something that you've got to shove everything else aside. Like, I know, I'm not saying that at all. But if you know deep down that something is right for you and you want that, or that's the direction you need to take, and there's several obstacles or challenges or people who are relying on you, and you can't just cut and run, obviously. But then I would pose this to you. How can you live in possibilities? How can you create possibilities? This kind of thinking has helped me so much in recent years, like learning to think in a world of possibilities. We are so quick to say, no, I can't. And, here's why. Instead of, how can I? What possibilities can I create? Who can I ask for support? Who can I enroll to invest with me? What small action can I take today? How can I make use of my commute if time is limited, right? Where can I find an extra 15, 20 minutes in the day? Is it possible that I could wake up a little bit earlier? Is it possible that I could brainstorm some ideas for content while I take a walk or exercise? Because I guarantee you that when you start thinking that way and you embody that kind of person, you're definitely going to feel a lot happier with yourself. Like, even though it'll be challenging, and you will probably stretch yourself and it will feel uncomfortable. And some days you're going to hate it and not feel like it. But overall, you will be proud of yourself. You will be the kind of person that gets up, goes after your goals, and handles the pressure and actually tries. You will be so much happier with that version of you, that person, rather than the version of you who just gave up and said it wasn't worth it and not possible to begin with. So when it comes to discerning between intuition and fear, like, how do you tell when you're not sure which it is? Because like I said, I know the fear can be very rational and intellectual sometimes. And I think that each person, though, knows like what their intuition feels like, because at some point you've probably experienced it, right? Even when you didn't listen to it maybe or know it in the moment, like you can look back and say, yeah, that was my intuition, right? We've all had that experience at some point in our life where we had an inner knowing about a person or a situation or a circumstance, and saying like, oh yeah, that was my intuition speaking to me. And it's being able to look back and clock that and know what your intuition feels like for you in your body. And the more you clock it, the more you recognize it, the faster you'll be able to discern whether it is your intuition. You've got to be able to listen for how it feels like for you, yourself, and be able to, so you can be able to recognize that in future situations a lot faster. So you can start to really notice like the sequence, right? Too, like when you're up against something or a moment where you're like, like, I don't know, like, how do I say this? Like I'm giving you the example, right? For myself, when with the challenge came up, like I knew instantly that was the right thing for me to do. And then the negotiation happened with my committee and the fear. So notice the sequence. What happened? What came up for you before the fear and the negotiation and the committee met up? And it's usually so instant. And sometimes it can be a quick flash, right? So just noticing that and clocking what comes up for you before the committee comes up together and has their whole fucking thing, right? There's like this intuitive voice, and it often really speaks. It actually speaks very cleanly and sometimes quietly. And that's something to really notice, because fear can show up with all these spreadsheets and all these worst case scenarios, and it can be really freaking loud. Your fear can be really loud, but the loudest voice isn't always the wisest one. And just know and recognize that your intuition, it might not always be logical. Like sometimes it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but that doesn't mean it's not right. We just haven't filled the gap between your knowing, your deeper knowing, and the clarity of how to get there and how it'll work, or if it'll work. So there's that gap between where we are and where we want to be. And that gap will stay a gap until we take action, despite being in the uncertainty. That's what it means to trust yourself. Not being certain of if it's going to work or how it'll work, but no matter what happens, you will navigate it and you will figure it out. That is you putting faith and trust in yourself and betting on yourself. See, like with the 90 challenge, like it took me days. And finally today, I was going back and forth, ping-ponging around. And I finally quieted all the inner critics. And I went back to my inner knowing. And even when I was on the checkout screen, man, dude, I was like, I put in the credit card info. And then I still took out the screen and sat there and delayed pressing the payment. Went back to my notes and talking to chat. I kept delaying it till the very last second. And I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to trust myself. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make the decision. And as soon as I did, as soon as I hit it, I felt relief. I knew that was the right decision, because all the other stuff, like, sure, yeah, it's there, the fear, but it kind of melted away. And because I knew that was the right decision. And all the ping-ponging back and forth was so draining. But when I finally decided and moved on it, I felt clear. I was able to get excited, and I knew there was relief instantly, because I had decided. That was it. Look, you're not always going to know for sure. Like sometimes when it comes to like discerning intuition and fear, I do have to say this, like sometimes you're not going to be 1,000% sure which one it is. I want to say that yes, you'll feel your intuition, you'll know. And I think most of the time we do, but there is going to be a small percentage of time where we're not entirely sure if that's our fear or our intuition. And sometimes the only way that you find out is by following it. Like that, that's the scary truth. Like I'm going to find out over the next 90 days, but I have a good feeling that it's my intuition. And I knew that this is the right decision. And that's how self-trust is built, right? Like asking myself, which choice is actually going to help me trust myself more? Self-trust isn't built before the decision. It's built through it. Even the challenge, it's not even about the 90 posts. Like it's about becoming someone who makes a commitment and meets it and shows up with integrity. Like that's super important to me. And that's what I'm going to find out. So, yeah, I think all of this is really, and I'm going to wind down here. But I just want to say, I think that all this is so important because, at least to me, I want to see people shine and I want to see people happy and I want to see people feeling proud of themselves. I think that when we feel good about ourselves, we treat other people differently. We show up differently in our world and in our community, and and that creates a ripple effect in the world, right? If I'm showing up, I feel good about myself, and I walk outside to get my mail and I see my neighbor. If I'm feeling good about myself, I might say hi and smile and connect rather than put my head down, grab my mail and run inside, right? And then that neighbor of mine might feel good. And then they'll go to the store to get groceries and they'll smile and maybe make small chat with the store clerk. And then the store clerk, the grocery girl, checking people out. Now she's seeing, 50, 100 people come through her line, and now she's maybe influencing them, and there's this ripple, this beautiful ripple that happens as a result. And then beyond that, I just think personally, we all want to live as our best self. Like none of us want to look back at our lives with regret. And I think that there is this inherent drive and need in humans that we want to evolve and we want to grow and see us become the greatest version of ourselves, to strive and be in our potential. And you can argue that a lot of people don't feel that way, but I would counter that they do. And there's just fear talking them out of it, and a lack of belief in self-worth that is actually causing them to hold back and sabotage themselves from doing what they really want and being the version of themselves that they really want to be, because they don't feel that's possible for them. So if you want to be someone who is fully expressed, who is fulfilled, who is fully themselves and going after what they want and being the person that they want to be in the world, then we've got to be able to discern and listen to our intuition and cultivate self-trust. In order for you to be that person, you've got to be able to trust yourself and your decisions and recognize your knowing before your fear talks you out of it. And cultivate the trust that you can handle whatever comes next, whatever happens, because belief doesn't happen before, it happens through action. And that's the goal. The goal is to become someone that you trust. Prove to yourself that that's you. Show up, see what happens, take the risk, build courage. See it through. Take a chance. Be vulnerable. Expose yourself. Find out. I think we only really have one life that we truly, truly, truly know that we have. And so let's make the most of it.
Hey there. Thanks for tuning in. If this episode hit home, spread the love. Maybe share it with a friend or drop a comment. I'd love to know what landed for you. And remember, your voice matters. Whatever you're holding back, say it anyway.